Hello again, Ferrari model fans. So what we have here is a really old Kyosho. It's from their second Ferrari mini car collection, and it's one of these model kits. You can see, how to assemble this thing. You'll notice here in the box it says 368 yen, which is like $3.70, and so it's still less than $4 in today's money. But it says here back in 2005, this is when this model came out. If you want to pause the video, here are the other cars in this collection. I do want to say some of these models I think might be in the newer collections. Like I think they're up to collection number 9 or even more than 9 collections of just Ferraris. So some of them will have better wheels. Like this one does not have really good wheels or tires, but through my limited research I didn't see a re-release of this standard F430 in one of the later Kyosho collections. So I'm not aware of one with a better wheel set. But if you guys know of or have one, please let me know, because I'd rather have a nicer one than this. Okay, so it came in a blister pack, as well protected and stuff like that. And then, it's weird. It had a card of how to assemble it, but I don't know where it went. It's not that important. There's no screw holding the thing together because it came shipped as a kit. It just has these spacers and locator pins. So that's just the way the space is, apparently. Okay, so looking at the rear here, let's just compare it to this photo. Alright, so you'll notice, well, I'll talk a little bit about the car. The F430 was available between 2004 and 2009. Its styling comes from Pininfarina, but also with the help of Frank Stevenson. And a lot of the styling elements harken back to older Ferraris. So these rear taillights harken back to the Enzo, as well as the vents here in the engine cover. So they're very Enzo-like. The side mirrors are supposed to look somewhat like Ferrari Testarossa mirrors with the two arms sticking out there. And then these oval openings in the front are reminiscent of the type of the number 156 Formula 1 race car from I think it was the 50s or possibly 60s. It's one of the very early F1 cars by Ferrari that has the shark nose. Okay, so then this thing has a 4.3 liter V8, and it's making around 480 horsepower. And all the other V8 Ferraris prior to this were descendants of the Dino racing program of the 1950s. So this is the very first one to have a brand new engine, totally new design. It was also the first Ferrari to use the Manettino. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that at all correct. I'm not Italian. Manettino? Anyways, it's some sort of steering wheel that has a control knob, and you can adjust a bunch of different things like suspension settings, engine settings. And it basically just changes the attitude of the car from docile to super racer style. So that's the bits of information I found out about the car. Hopefully while I was babbling you could have compared the photo to the model. But now let's get a better light angle and get the pick of scrutiny out. The main problem I'm having with this old model are these tires and wheels. So the tires are almost flat. There's not much curvature to the sidewall. So later Kyoshos cure that problem. So that's what bothers me here. Also, these are little chrome plastic hubcaps, and then they go into these black plastic discs, I guess, that are attached to the axles. So it's there's never going to be light passing through the spokes because there's a black plastic disc that I'm bottoming out against there. Whereas all non-Kyosho kits, they have light passing between the spokes. So that's the major problem with this particular model from Kyosho. Okay, now the silver is pretty nice though. I mean, it's a really small flake. It's not super splotchy, and the panel gaps here look alright. You got the Ferrari crest printed on pretty nicely there. A little indication of the vent there. Yeah, going to the back there. Again, you got the Enzo taillights, and the prancing horse looks pretty good. And some sort of texture there, and it's painted black, so that's alright. Texture here, excuse me. Texture here, and then the plastic base, I guess, No, wait, I'm not. That's not part of the plastic base. It's just black paint. This is part of the casting. So that's actually pretty nice, these exhaust tips. Or maybe this is a black piece of plastic, because I don't think you could die cast that thin in a circular fashion. So this is possibly glued in plastic. What's missing though is the red that should be in this reflector here. This groove is a reflector on the real car. And for some reason, these taillights do look super small. Let me go back to that image. The taillights on this car are much bigger than this diecast. It's weird. So that's not very good on Kyosho's part. Okay, so this side, no real quality problems that I can see. Ideally, there would be some black paint in there. Okay, going to the front. Yeah, the grill's pretty nice. I mean, it's textured, it's black. The black paint here is pretty good. It's hitting the mark. This vent here goes all the way back into till it hits the plastic base, so that's good. The Ferrari badge it's pretty decent, but it does seem a bit large. I don't think that looks like a huge Ferrari badge. That looks like it would be an iPhone sitting on the hood of a car. It should be probably half that size. Okay, so we do have plastic lenses, but no indication of any sort of like light bucket that I can tell. No, well, actually, you know, there's a little dot of plastic there. I just feel like it could be better. Oh well. Okay, so now we got the windshield wiper blades. They're molded into the windshield and they're painted black, so that's nice. And then you got black paint around all the windows for the molding, and then the vents there are painted black as well, so that's good. Yeah, the interior is typical from Kyosho. It's really nicely detailed mold-wise, but being black, it's really hard to see any of those details. Luckily, that windshield's pretty big, and I'm not getting a reflection there. You can kind of see what's going on there, right? And the engine detail is nice again, but there's just no extra color. But we gotta remember, this model costs less than $4, so for $4, it's pretty good, I think, except for the wheels. That's the only thing that really bothers me on the grand scale. Second would be the size of these small tail lights, but they are plastic, they're not painted on. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. If anyone knows of a better F430 from Kyosho, please let me know like what collection it was in so I can search it out. Now let's start pulling out some better Ferraris, I guess. I gotta pull out a massive tray of comparison here. So this would have been the first one, right? I might be mistaken the order of release here, but I did check on Wikipedia, so hopefully I'm correct. But after that, you'd have the Spider come out, right? Or the convertible. So now I forget what collection this comes from, but just look at the difference. It's night and day. There's red in the engine. The lights. It looks like there's a little better indication, or there's paint actually in there. There's actually silver paint in there. Look how small the Ferrari badge is. Alright, so yeah, and then look at the wheels. There's air passing between the spokes. So it's because I don't think this is a model kit. I think this was a finished one, or I might be wrong. It might have still been a model kit. But there's black paint in the vent here. It's just a better model overall. They increased the size of the tail lamps. We'll compare them all later. Okay, so anyways, that's nice. Super nice. Okay. Then what we have here is a 430 Challenge. So it looks like the same in bland black interior pieces, but obviously, you know, a lot of graphics going on, and it's got the better wheels here with air passing between them and bigger tail lights. Okay. So now I think this is the 430 GT. I think it's called the GTC though, and kind of a bland one though. I know that I think they make a racing livery one, but I just picked this one up because it was cheaper. So, but still, I think it's better detailed. It's got the better wheels and stuff. Okay. Then what do we have? This is the Scuderia. Alright, so yeah, this is a nice one. Look at the nice wheels, really crisp. Small badge, nice printing there. The headlights are the best so far. You can clearly see two projectors or two LEDs or whatever they're running there, and the mirrors now are separate plastic pieces. I have reviews, I think, of this one and that one, possibly somewhere in my history. I apologize, I can't remember when. But you can use the search function. You could just look up Ferrari 430 and it should pop up. And then the very last one was in this same comparison. I think it was the same video. This is the 16M, which has some different bodywork again, and it's convertible, obviously. But yeah, really nice wheels. Oddly, less paint than the previous blue one. Okay, so basically, these 5 are all better than this one, because this is from mini car collection number 2. These would be all later on, collection 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or there's something called Neo collection. So there's a whole bunch of Ferraris by Kyosho. I'm not sure if I even have all their F430s, but I think maybe. Okay, so there's the front view of all of them, right? Top view, they're gonna roll, so I'm gonna just move the camera instead. Yeah, I'm really liking that blue convertible. That thing's super nice. I think it's my favorite of all of them. Okay, so let me spin this around. Let's get the back view. Okay, so it's interesting. You can clearly tell the taillights on this are a lot smaller diameter than those. This just looks better. It's just a better model all around. But really, it's possibly these 2 last yellow ones are the best, because these all have the blobby metallic mirrors. They're part of the casting. Whereas these last 2 are actually separate plastic pieces, molded and glued onto the casting. So the mirrors are just much crisper looking on these 2 yellow cars. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's that. There's no way I'm going to pull up stack them, but let's see here. Let's focus in the middle car. So that's, I guess, the best I can do for a top view. Maybe that. Okay, well anyways, so if you don't have an F430 from Kyosho in your collection, I would pretty much recommend all those, and maybe skip the one from Ferrari collection number 2, unless you have a second set of wheels or something like that. I bought an Inno 64 recently. Possibly I could fit some BBS kind of rims. Let's see. I don't know, what do you guys think? Better or worse? Probably better, just because the tires, look at the curvature of the sidewalls. It's better than these flat looking things. Alright, well, I'm rambling on. So I'll keep the Ferraris coming. Whenever a good price comes up, I'm buying them by Kyosho. I prefer Kyosho over a lot of the other brands, as you can tell by my history. So I guess arrivederci.